Hey, welcome back to Splash Page. I'm Andrew. Let's talk Season 3, Episode 6, Righteous Gemstones, for Out of the Heart Come Evil Thoughts. Alright, I'm starting to sound like a broken record a little bit, but this season especially, relationships crumbling all around us left and right. Save one, but we'll get there, and I feel like that's coming. We'll start where the episode started, and we'll end where the episode ended with Judy and BJ. We start with Judy and BJ is finally growing a little bit of self-respect for himself, which is strange seeing as he just found out his wife has cheated on him, but he's closing up, pulling inside, becoming hard, and really standing up for himself and just in his own way, saying, hey, I can't take this anymore. That's enough. And Judy is trying to fix her relationship. She seems legitimately remorseful. She's not doing a very good job, but she is doing the best she can. Later in the episode, she ends up going to Amber to ask for relationship advice, and Amber's group basically gives her the advice, you have to be fully remorseful, and it's up to BJ whenever he feels like it randomly to forgive you, and she really hates that. BJ gets some kind words from Jesse, who tells him how sorry he is for him, and that Judy can be really selfish at times. And then Jesse and the boys teach BJ how to fight, how to throw a punch, how to act like a man, so to speak, in a fight, and how to wear a pair of brass knucks. Picks up a little bit of a weapon there for later on, because, that'll make things easier. One punch knockout, that'd be pretty sweet. We'll get back to BJ and Judy later at the end of the video, but first, let's talk about some of these other relationships we got going here. First, let's talk about the cousins. I was wrong. The cousins did come back. Apparently, no one in the family knows that the fertilizer is missing, that they dropped it off with Peter. So they just came back and said, hey, everything's cool, and we're ready to leave. And the family kind of feels good about themselves for helping these cousins of theirs. Jesse seems really happy with how things have turned out, and since they're cool cousins again, gives them the monster truck, the Redeemer, and immediately regrets it because it's too big a gesture. I've talked in last episodes about whose plan this was to steal the fertilizer while the cousins were ingratiating themselves with the gemstones, and I have no clue anymore. Not a clue. No idea. I thought it was Maymay's plan with Peter on board, and the kids were kind of pawns. Now I think it's fully the kids' plan. Maybe Maymay's an incredible actor, because when the kids say they want to leave, she screams no. She's frightened that Peter will hurt them. Maybe Peter's an incredible actor, or just really dumb, because when the kids come back to him with the monster truck, he's willing to believe that they stole it from the gemstones, but he seems serious. They're all pulling guns on them when they come roaring in that monster truck. I don't think Peter or Maymay is in on the fact with the other one. Who would have thought that the actual plan was what Peter and Maymay said the plan was? I thought they were lying this entire time. I think the kids are working with Peter to steal the fertilizer, and they're working with Maymay to hang out with the gemstones. But I don't think Peter knows that the kids are hanging out with the gemstones and are friends now, that they did it on purpose, like underhandedly. I think that happened naturally. So now they're in a position where they actually like the people that they're hurting. So we'll see where that goes. That's going to be interesting. But we move on from there. Taryn takes over as the assistant youth pastor with Kelvin, which he needs an assistant youth pastor. Keefe left. He didn't go to immigrant outreach. He left the church completely, and he's now working with a master carpenter. I thought that Keefe and Kelvin's relationship was going to grow and get better when they no longer had to work together. I was fully wrong. Now, it could still grow later on in the series, and I think it might because of something that happens later in the episode, but right now they're both dealing with big feelings that neither one of them knows how to handle. Kelvin shows up at the carpenter shop and makes fun of the carpenter, and then he's kind of upset that Keefe didn't backslide into Satanism without his help, and that hurts him. And then he tells Keefe that Taryn is amazing and nobody misses him. And then Keefe builds Kelvin a rocking chair, a really nice rocking chair with his name in it, to try to make amends. But he finds Kelvin joking around and laughing with Taryn, and he flips out, and they have an awful conversation. The two of them just fully blowing up each other's spot. Keefe thinks that Kelvin's replaced him with Taryn, she's a replicant, he calls her, that she's exactly what he was and he meant nothing. And then Kelvin blames Keefe for leaving the church. He said he should have gone to immigrant outreach. But how can you take that demotion and feel like that way? You're your best friend, and honestly, they're in love, right? But that guy says we can no longer work together, go work in a different department. That's heartbreaking. You can't just sit there and pine away in another department. So he had to leave, but now Kelvin's holding that against him. The two of them scream at each other and they storm off. While Keefe and Kelvin's relationship is breaking up, Jesse and Amber don't seem to be doing too great either. They have a little meltdown fight where Jesse basically tells Amber everything she's doing with the system is meaningless. It's stupid and it doesn't help anything. And what's really important is his job running the church. And she obviously stands up for herself and says, I like having something of my own to do. Whatever their reasons, whatever their sides, they're not getting along well. And I don't like watching the next time on, so if you don't either, spoiler alert really quick, but I just saw the first part of it. Spoiler alert now. Apparently Jesse didn't come home last night in the next episode, so something's going on in their relationship. He didn't tell Amber where he's going, and that's not looking too great either. Speaking of Jesse, let's move on to hologram Amy Lee. Basically, Baby Billy's got this hologram machine where he can make Amy Lee sing again. And Jesse feels they need this because they need a star, because him and his siblings do not work well together. He is a big dumb idiot, but at least he has the self-knowledge to realize that whatever they're doing, it's not working. I think he thinks the best thing to do is to get rid of his siblings. I don't think he's that much better at running a church, but he's doing everything he can do, which is, again, awful, but he's working with what he's got. They show this presentation to the family. Baby Billy's basically blackmailing Jesse into picking up Bible bonkers. That was a sentence I never thought I'd have to say. Try saying that 3 times fast. But Baby Billy blackmails Jesse into picking up Bible bonkers to give him this hologram machine, and they play the presentation for the family, which Eli, he breaks down crying. He hates it. They've turned his wife, his dead wife, into a sideshow. Maymay doesn't love it either any more than Eli, and the rest of the family follows suit and shuns Jesse and Baby Billy for making this hologram. And Eli freaks out. Oh, first, all of the kids, Judy and Kelvin, both quit the church, which is why, going back, I think now Kelvin and Keefe's relationship is going to get better, because now Kelvin has nothing to do with the church. He can go be with Keefe. That's what I think is going to happen there. That's what I hope is going to happen. But knowing the show, it won't, but we'll see in an episode or two. Probably next episode, I guess. I don't know. More importantly, Eli freaks out, breaks the hologram machine. Now, here's 2 interesting things that happen in that scene. First, when it's first brought up, we hear Jesse say to Baby Billy, this thing cost a shit ton of money and you ain't really giving me anything. It is an expensive machine. Then, during the scuffle, kerfuffle, sure, let's go with kerfuffle. During that, where Eli is breaking the machine, you hear Baby Billy scream out, it's a loaner. So, what do we have here? A very expensive machine that was on loan that's now broken. Baby Billy is deep in debt. Where's he going from here? He's been deep in debt before, and usually when that happens, he runs away from the family and tries to start anew. Now maybe he has this Bible Bonkers show, which is not going to work. It can't possibly work. It's Righteous Gemstones. How could it work? It's a crazy idea to begin with. And it's called Baby Billy's Bible Bonkers. No one's... We'll see. We'll see. But now he's in crazy debt, and he's probably got someone on his tail that wants to be repaid. So there might be an angle going on there as well. I think all we have left to do is finish up the Judy and BJ story. So first, we have Stephen's wife, Christy, basically blackmailing the Gemstones for $500,000. Judy doesn't want to apologize. The family advisor, Martin, insists she does. And the brothers basically snark her into apologizing to this woman, which she does, with Martin there, but not her brothers. And she does break down at that one kindness when Martin tells her he lied to her brothers, told them it was a different day, so that she could have this moment in private, which was very nice, but she still had to apologize. She still had to hand over $500,000 of her own money, because she did go to her father and ask him to pay, and he flipped out and said, why can't you kids just get your lives together? Now, we're watching this show. These kids are awful. They're terrible. They don't know what they're doing, and they're messing up at every turn. But also, who raised them? Eli raised them. And without Amy Lee, this is how they were raised, with incredible wealth and no repercussions for anything ever. I'm not blaming Eli, but I'm not blaming Eli. Anyway, Judy pays off the $500,000 and apologizes. But remember, we still have BJ learning to fight, and he's got those brass knucks ready. He's working out at home. He sees a text message from Steven telling his wife one last time, so he flips out, drives over to Steven's place, and now he's ready. Now he knows how to fight. Now he knows how to talk. Now he knows how to use brass knuckles. I don't know. He knocks on the door. No one answers. He opens the door. It's unlocked. He hears that song that Steven is always playing whenever Judy's around, Daytime Friends and Nighttime Lovers. Is that a real song, or did they make this up for this show? I don't know. If anyone knows, I'm not going to look it up, but it is I like the song, and it fits perfectly. That's why I think they made it up for the show. And he wanders through the house, and the whole time, I'm sure you were too, you're thinking, okay, well, we're going to find Steven and Judy in bed together. No, it's just Steven, and he's masturbating. So BJ sneaks into the room, whistles to get his attention, cold cocks him, pun not intended, right in the face, spits in his face, and says, how do you like me now? It's perfect, except Steven's not actually unconscious. He wakes up, and BJ gets his ass kicked all over the house. He has no actual defensive techniques. All he had was that one shot. Wouldn't that be great? Fights over in one punch? Well, turns out it wasn't. And Steven just beats the crap out of him all over the house. Nude fight. Full nudity, full frontal, full rear roll, behindle. What do you call that? Why can't I think of that word? Doesn't matter. Full nude. Drags BJ out of the house, sprays him with the hose, laughs at him and says, you lost. And then BJ finds he has one last move and manages to win the fight and feel good about himself, even though this was a crazy plan. But he does feel good about himself. He ends up coming home beaten and bloody, and maybe with self-confidence for the first time in his life. He sees Judy, she's making dinner, she's all trying to be remorseful, trying to be helpful, trying to mend this relationship, and he just trudges upstairs with his bloody eye and says, hope you like me now. So, where is this going from here? I think they stay together, but it's never going to be the same again. Judy's going to have a lot more respect for BJ. BJ's going to have a lot less respect for Judy. It's not healthier, but it might be more like a relationship where they each at least think about each other's feelings, as opposed to BJ just rolling over and doing whatever Judy says all the time. Also, theory, there's going to be legal repercussions. There were lots of witnesses to BJ beating the crap out of a naked man on his own lawn. So that's where that's going. That was season 3, episode 6. Very good. I like this episode. All of the relationships are crumbling, except, like I said at the beginning, the Gemstones and the Montgomery cousins. And I guess the Montgomery cousins and Peter are still getting along well, until everyone finds out that the cousins are double dealing. Is it them? Is it May? Is it Peter? It's driving me crazy! Also, episode ends with a great song about Judy. That's another one. Did they write that song? That's too perfect for them to not have written. But the lyrics weren't actually perfect, but for that scenario. But it was such a great song. I really enjoyed that song. I only keep asking because they did write that song for Amy Lee and Baby Billy. That was a fake song that ended up becoming a hit. So, this video is getting kind of long, so let's end it there. And we've covered everything anyway. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. I'm Andrew. This is Splash Page. Later.